day I make sure to tune in to Australian writer Caitlin Johnstone's daily musings about world events, read aloud by her husband, whose American accent I find strangely comforting, given the aggression I usually receive from Americans on such topics. Katie aptly calls her musings notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. And rather than simply shoot you a link, I'd like to play through the previous 2 days' musings and provide some commentary from a uniquely Australian viewpoint.
You fucking sit, mate. You don't need to worry about nothing else, eh?
Yeah.
Nah, that's what I always say, though. Don't take life for granted.
Yeah, I know.
Nah, mate, you never know, eh? One day you could be there, next day...
You're gone.
You're fucking gone, mate. You're gone.
I know.
Could happen to any one of us. It's a scary thought, I know.
I know,
But
it is.
look, mate, listen to me. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
live every day as if it's your last day on earth.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
know. You
mate,
told me.
fucking listen to me, mate. I'm trying to give you some life advice here, and you're fucking not listening.
I'm listening
No,
to
I'm
ya.
sick of it. Your fucking life's a mess. Everything's turned to fucking shit around ya. Your missus left ya. You got 3 kids. God knows where they are, mate. Fucking God knows.
Whatever.
And I come and try to help ya. And what do? You You throw it in me face.
what?
Nah, I'm fucking done with ya. You made your bed. You can fucking sleep in it, and I'm done. Get fucked.
They keep us focused on decoy dichotomies. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. Westerners are taught that evil foreign regimes don't let their people criticize their government. Meanwhile, Westerners themselves are trained to never criticize their government. They're trained instead to criticize decoy dichotomies, false partisan nonsense, not the real power. Westerners are trained to criticize the actions of the other party or the beliefs of the other ideological faction, but never the foreign or domestic policies which are supported by both parties. The power structure which maintains 99.9% of the same policies regardless of which party is officially in charge is the real government. But Westerners are trained never to look there. Instead, they're trained to fixate on a false two-handed puppet show diversion.
If you listen to me ramble on for 6 hours in my 6-part series on world politics, then you'll know that I actually do agree with this sentiment.
Westerners say, well, I'd rather live here than China or Russia, because here I can criticize my government whenever I want. Okay, but you don't. You don't criticize your government. You just criticize the puppets, and usually only the puppets of the party you don't like. You never criticize your actual government. Criticizing your actual government looks like attacking the murderous foreign policy that's supported by both parties, attacking the authoritarian domestic policies supported by both parties, attacking the exploitative capitalist systems supported by both parties. Westerners are trained not to do that. They're trained to believe that criticizing your government looks like saying "Drumpf" or "Let's go Brandon," while the same tyrannical agendas march forward regardless of who sits in the White House. Westerners are free in the same way free-range chickens are free. Sure, the door's technically open and they can technically go outside, but they're conditioned never to do so. Western so-called liberal democracy purports to offer freedom, while in practice only offering the illusion of freedom. It uses the most sophisticated propaganda machine ever devised to keep people trapped in an existence as blindly obedient gear-turners while cartoons about freedom play in their heads.
Hey, you cannot smoke on the platform. You cannot smoke. It's illegal.
What?
I said you cannot smoke. It is the law. You must smoke outside the perimeters of the train station.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I can't understand what you're saying.
You can't understand? I speak English. I speak slow for you. No smoking allowed on the train station. See? Sign. Right there. Sign. Read right there.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Not getting it. Maybe try speaking Australian or some shit.
I speak English. I'm speaking the same language you're speaking right now.
I don't speak ching chong talk, mate. Sorry.
Ching chong talk? I am not Asian. Fuck you. Get off the platform if you're gonna smoke.
No, we're not getting off the platform. We're staying right here, mate.
Oh, okay, so you do understand what I'm saying. You understand me now?
No, I told you, I can't fucking understand you.
Fuck you. You can't hear me. You're lying to me, you fucking liar.
Don't call me a liar, mate. I am not lying. I swear on me mum's grave, yeah, I can't understand a fucking word you're saying.
That's it. Fuck you. I'm gonna call the police. I'm calling the police now.
Police don't speak bloody ching-chong. You're gonna have to learn Australian to speak to them.
I do speak Australian. Fuck you. You can't smoke on the platform.
The problem isn't wokeism. The problem is that important conversations like U.S. militarism and imperialism get bogged down in ridiculous conversations about whether the U.S. military is too woke or not woke enough, instead of how it's killing people and threatening the whole world. Engaging in either side of that debate protects the worst impulses of the most powerful and dangerous people in the world, because it moves the crosshairs of public scrutiny from the powerful to the other side of the wokeness culture war. This is happening all over the place. A good example is the way Republicans have been pushing the most horrific agendas of U.S. imperialism but using anti-wokeness as a carrying agent for their propaganda, like when Jesse Kelly said on Tucker Carlson that, "We don't need a military that's woman-friendly. We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of Type A men who want to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls." Or when Psycho Rubio said, "We don't need a military focused on the proper use of pronouns. We need a military focused on blowing up Chinese aircraft carriers." The culture war says you should push back on the anti-woke rhetoric. Anti-imperialism says you should push back on their omnicidal warmongering. It's hard to focus on both. This is being exploited by empire managers in myriad ways. They get people chasing decoy dichotomies so they can't focus on the powerful. Step 1. Be a progressive. Step 2. Ignore a major problem that progressives are supposed to oppose. Step 3. Keep ignoring it until right-wingers start paying attention to it. Step 4. Frame opposing that problem as a right-wing position. See nuclear brinkmanship, Ukraine proxy warfare, Assange, Syria, internet censorship, etc. One of the reasons people are so casual about risking nuclear war is because it's a difficult concept for the mind to wrap itself around. Full-scale nuclear war wouldn't just kill everyone. It'd prevent every other human who would have been born in the future from ever existing.
Oi! Don't come over our side. This is our side of the skate park. What are you talking about? That dick graffiti there is where the line is. You can't come over it. It's our territory. I don't fucking give a shit. I've been coming to here before you were even born every Sunday to get fucked up. Nah, anyway, you should be at school. Go to school, you fucking waggers. Whatever, I don't fucking care, just don't come near us. Fucking little shits. Yeah, anyway, man, what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, you're a dickhead, mate. Like, no joke, I worry about ya.
I have no special feelings one way or the other about China or Russia. I just acknowledge the indisputable fact that they are quantifiably far less destructive than the U.S. centralized empire. If they weren't being aggressively targeted by that empire, I probably wouldn't notice them much. Discussion of revolution and communism in the English-speaking world is just fantasy role-playing, unless it begins and ends with the cold, hard reality that the left has been completely neutralized and marginalized here, and the numbers are nowhere close to where they need to be. Moving revolutionary leftism out of the farthest margins and closer to the mainstream should be your first and foremost objective before you talk about anything else, because otherwise you're just LARPing. You're arguing about a political movement that has no actual movement. You can do this by outreach and activism. You can also do this by finding ways to make socialism and communism look so fucking cool that people start knocking each other over to be part of it. Finding clever ways to make it shiny and attractive in a very indoctrinated society. Anyone who tries to convince you to like a powerful person has traded their mind for personality cult doctrine, whether their hero is Bernie Sanders, AOC, Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, or Elon Musk. Proselytizing for the powerful is a sign that critical thinking has been abandoned. Think about it. What would be gained by one person having positive feelings about Elon Musk or some other powerful figure? How does that benefit the world? It doesn't. Yet people try to win converts for them constantly, like evangelists proselytizing their religion. This is because they're all about the individual, not the cause or the policies that individual supposedly stands for. Anyone who tries to convince me to support a given goal or perspective will have my interest if their case is lucid and well argued. But anyone who tries to convince me to like a given individual is instantly dismissed as a mindless automaton. I know I won't be hearing anything intelligent from them. Pushing agendas serves those agendas. Pushing individuals serves only those individuals. If you care about advancing a cause, then advance that cause. Don't get caught up in the propaganda-friendly, thought-killing tar pit of personality worship. Famous people are not your friend, and uplifting the powerful only serves power. This is especially true in the power structure we currently live under, where the only people who are allowed to get to the top are those who facilitate the interests of power. Filmmakers can trick you into cheering for the seal or the polar bear just by choosing which one's being followed by the camera and framed as the protagonists. They can also trick you into cheering for cops, a corrupt legal system, or an imperialist military in the same way.
Look, what we have here is a major budget deficit that needs to be carefully looked at.
Oh, shut up. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. I'm sick of these politicians, eh? That's why this country's so fucked up, man. Because of the government. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The Atlantic is a shitty propaganda rag run by elitist wankers. The Atlantic, which is owned by billionaire Laurene Powell Jobs and run by neoconservative war propagandist Jeffrey Goldberg, has published a pair of articles that are appalling even by its own standards. Virulent Russiagator Ann Applebaum argues in Fear of Nuclear War has warped the West's Ukraine strategy, that the U.S. and its allies should escalate against Russia with full confidence that Putin won't respond with nuclear weapons. Here's the only thing we know. As long as Putin believes that the use of nuclear weapons won't win the war, as long as he believes that to do so would call down an unprecedented international and Western response, perhaps including the destruction of his navy, of his communications system, of his economic model, then he won't use them, Applebaum writes. But throughout her own essay, Applebaum also acknowledges that she does not actually know the things she is claiming to know. We don't know whether our refusal to transfer sophisticated tanks to Ukraine is preventing nuclear war, she writes. We don't know whether loaning an F-16 would lead to Armageddon. We don't know whether holding back the longest-range ammunition is stopping Putin from dropping a tactical nuclear weapon or any other kind of weapon. I can't prove this is true, of course, because no one can, says Applebaum after confidently asserting that more Western aggression would actually have deterred Russia's invasion of Ukraine. These are the kinds of things it's important to have the highest degree of certainty in before taking drastic actions, which can, literally end the world. It's absolutely nuts how Western pundits face more scrutiny and accountability when publicly recommending financial investments than when recommending moves that could end all terrestrial life. On that note, it's probably worth mentioning here that Applebaum's husband, European Parliament member Radoslaw Sikorski, recently made headlines by publicly thanking the United States for sabotaging the Nord Stream gas pipelines.
Oi, Damo, you cunt. Give us your lighter. Fuck off, man. I don't have one. Oi, what's your problem, mate? You a bit fucked in the head or something?
No, I just
You're
don't.
fucked, mate. Nah, you're fucked.
I just don't want to give you me lighter.
'Cause you always pocket me lighter, always stealing my fucking lighters, you... Can you, like, for 1 second not be a fuckwit? You... Don't you fucking... What's going up in there, mate? You got anything up there in your thick fucking skull? Shut up, mate. Except all those durries you're munching. You got nothing but fucking ciggy butts up there now. You got a ciggy butt brain. That's what they're gonna call you, mate. They're gonna call you ciggy butt brain. No, ciggy butt brain. What you doing, mate? You free, mate? Can you come over for a beer, mate? Can you come over on Thursday, mate? Siggy butt brain. That's what they're gonna call you, man. No, they're not. 'Cause you're fucking scoffing away on those ciggies all day. No. All day, all night ciggies. If you want a lighter, why don't you just go to the servo and get one? 'Cause you dopey cunt. I just spent all my Centrelink on Samantha's child support, didn't I? Well, that's got nothing to do with me. Can't believe it. Unfucking believable. After all the shit we've been through. So fucking typical of you though, eh? Fucking stingy cunt. Alright, here you go. Oh, cheers, mate. Stop whinging, will ya? You're alright, mate. I was only joking. Alright, no worries. Can I have my lighter back now, please? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. You're fucked in the head. Can you get the fuck away from me? Do I fucking know you? Do I fucking know you, cunt? Yeah, I don't fucking think so. I don't think I fucking know you, cunt. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, you always do this to me. Always steal get the fuck out of here, you fuckwit. Say you don't know fucking me. Dopey cunt. I don't know you, son. You?
The Atlantic has also published an article titled "The Age of Social Media is Ending," subtitled "It Never Should Have Begun." Its author, Ian Bogost, argues that the recent management failures in Twitter and Facebook mean the days of just any old schmuck having access to their own personal broadcasting network are over, and that this is a good thing. Bogost's piece contains what has got to be the single most elitist sentence that I have ever read. Quote, "A global broadcast network where anyone can say anything to anyone else as often as possible, and where such people have come to think that they deserve such a capacity, or even that withholding it amounts to censorship or suppression, that's just a terrible idea from the outset." End quote. Nothing enrages the official authorized commentariat like the common riffraff having access to platforms and audiences. That's why the official authorized commentariat have been the most vocal voices calling for internet censorship and complaining about the rise of a more democratized information environment. These elitist wankers have been fuming for years about the way the uninitiated rabble have been granted the ability to not just talk, but to talk back. Hamilton Noland of In These Times posted a recent observation on Twitter which makes the perfect counter to the Atlantic's snooty pontifications. The best thing Twitter did for journalism was to show everyone that there are thousands of regular people who are better writers than most professionals, which is why the most mediocre famous pundits have always been quickest to dismiss it as a cesspool, Noland writes, adding, "Best thing Twitter did for the world in general was to allow anyone to yell directly at rich and powerful people, which drove many of them insane, including the richest guy on earth." Of course, the imperial narrative managers at The Atlantic would be opposed to normal people getting a voice in public discourse. When your job is to control the narrative, the bigger a monopoly you hold over it, the better.
Oh no, nearly got me. Oh shit, I'm getting long, mate, getting long. Boy, this is sick, man. You ever played Snake? Nah. What? Don't you have it on your phone? Nah, I don't have a phone anymore. Fuck, man, you're a bit behind, aren't ya? Don't even have a fucking phone. Because you took mine. Kinda sad, man. Took my phone. That's my phone. Stuck in the 1950s or some shit. Jesus. Pathetic.
Zelensky and Bush to give joint pro-war presentation. War criminal George W. Bush and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be appearing at an event next week at the George W. Bush Presidential Center in partnership with the U.S. government-funded narrative management operations Freedom House and National Endowment for Democracy. The goal of the presentation will reportedly be to address the completely fictional and imaginary concern that congressional Republicans won't continue supporting U.S. proxy war efforts in Ukraine. CNN reports, quote, Former U.S. President George W. Bush will hold a public conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky next week with the aim of underscoring the importance of the U.S. continuing to support Ukraine's war efforts against Russia. The event, which will take place in Dallas and be open to the public, comes amid questions about the willingness of the former president's Republican Party to maintain support for Ukraine.
Do you know what's better than Sundays, mate? No, what? No, you're supposed to say nothing. You fuck this up every Sunday, man. Oi, what do you think you're doing?
Skating?
Nah, sorry, this park isn't for skating, see? It's Darren's Get Fucked Up Park.
It's a free country, mate.
Get fucked, you hobo.
What? You need to wash your fucking mouth out with soap, cunt. I could knock you out in a second if I didn't have this bad back. I'm a fucking black belt, so shut the fuck up. Yeah, anyway, let's work on that again, man. So I say, do you know what's better than Sundays? And you say, nothing, okay? Yeah, I get ya. Nothing's better than Sundays. No, just say nothing by itself. Alright, nothing. No, you gotta wait till I say...
Sorry, dickhead.
Ukraine is the front line in the struggle for freedom and democracy. It's literally under attack as we speak, and it is vitally important that the United States provide the assistance, military and otherwise, to help Ukraine defend itself. David Kramer, the managing director for global policy at the George W. Bush Institute, told CNN. President Bush believes in standing with Ukraine. The Struggle for Freedom event will take place on Wednesday in partnership with the Freedom House and the National Endowment for Democracy at the George W. Bush Presidential Center. End quote. Now, to be clear, there is absolutely no reality-based reason to believe Republicans will meaningfully shy away from full-scale support for arming and assisting the Ukrainian military. The proxy war has only an impotent minority of opposition in the party, and every bill to fund it has passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. Some MAGA Republicans have claimed that funding the war would stop if the GOP won the midterm elections, but they were lying. There was never the slightest chance of that happening. Bush, you may remember, drew headlines and laughter earlier this year with his Freudian confession, in which he accused Vladimir Putin of launching a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Of Ukraine. The fact that the president, who launched a full-scale ground invasion which destabilized the entire region and led to the deaths of over 1 million people, is now narrative managing for the U.S. empire's current aggressively propagandized war, says everything about the nature of this conflict.
Oh, by the way, you're good to buy these smokes, yeah? I guess, but... Yeah, cheers, man. Ow. What the fuck? The fuck was that? I don't know, but it hit me head. My head, Look, man. What the hell is that? I think it's a magpie. It doesn't look too happy, man. Run for it, Damo. It's coming back. Quick, hide behind that bin. Oh, no. Damo! Shit. I'm coming for you, mate! You wanna go, me? Come on, let's go! Yeah, that's right. Go home, you dumb bird. Go back to bloody Bird Town, you dickhead. You did it, Damo. We're safe. Damo? Oh, shit. Sorry, man. I didn't realize you were that close to me. Is it bad? Nah.
Also appearing with Bush will be the leader who's slated to become the face of the U.S. empire's next proxy war, Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan, CNN writes. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen will also take part in the event next week. She will deliver a recorded message in which she is expected to underscore that the struggle for freedom is a global challenge. And sure, why not? If you're gonna manufacture consent for proxy warfare against multiple powers as your empire flails around, frantically scrambling to prevent the emergence of a multipolar world, you may as well save time and promote them all on the same ticket. Many people who support the U.S. proxy war in Ukraine now recognize that the Iraq war was a horrific disaster. But Ukraine isn't the good war, it's just the current war. Western propaganda means people always oppose the last war, but not the war that's currently being pushed by the propaganda of today. The U.S. provoking and sustaining its Ukraine proxy war is no more ethical than its invading of Iraq. It just looks that way due to propaganda. It is only by the copious amounts of propaganda our civilization is being hammered with that this is not immediately obvious to everyone. In the future, assuming we don't annihilate ourselves first, the propaganda will have cleared from the air enough for people to look back with clarity on 2022 and realize that we were lied to, yet again. It's easy to oppose the last war. It's hard to oppose current wars as the propaganda machine is shoving them down our throats. Everyone's anti-war until the war propaganda starts.
Alright, I'm filming. Alright, go. Holy shit. Okay. Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Dude, are you okay?